Well, welcome to Married for Life. We're so excited about this.
Yes.
Finally, get to do we're doing our series, and we're excited that you're here with us and you're watching our this new series, this new ministry, this new
Yes.
endeavor that we're doing, and we're going to be talking about really out of the five love language book.
Yes.
If you don't have that book, do we have it here? Of course we do. Get this book. So we're going to be teaching out of it and spending some time with you, and we'll see how this leads in the future.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
The secrets to lasting love.
Which honestly,
Right.
I don't know if you realize this, but it's honestly a journey and a
Yeah.
search that
Yeah.
all of us
All right.
want and need in our life.
Yeah. You know, so like we've been saying, if you watch some other messages or just like this theme that has kind of materialized,
Yeah.
no one started off their marriage. You didn't start your marriage off, or maybe you're engaged and you're heading that direction. You have no thought in your mind. It's not even in your head. Hopefully it's
Yeah.
not. You're standing at the altar, the pastor, the groom, and his best man, and you call them bridesmaids still?
Yeah, maid of honor.
Maid of honor, the bridesmaids, and dun dun dun, here she comes, walking the aisle. And that dude is not looking at her, and she's not looking at the dude, thinking, man, this is going to end up in some attorney's office,
Yeah,
dividing up the marriage stuff. No one thinks that way.
No.
So we're going to help us together
Yeah.
as a couple for 34 years, married for almost 32, and how we can stay married for life.
Yeah, it's good.
Over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about some practical and intentional small daily deposits that will make a lasting and loving impact into your relationship.
Yeah.
And but first, we're going to discuss why that is important.
Yeah.
Why you do this?
Yeah.
Why have marriage for life? Right. So we say this first question: what is love?
Yeah.
I think we can talk. I think we can all have different answers, but for the sake of context, what is love? I think the question can be confusing.
Yeah.
And we use the word love for so many things.
So many
Right?
things.
But if we deconstruct it on a personal or individual level,
Yeah.
a simple or basic definition is a deep sense or need,
Yeah.
a deep need or sense to be wanted and to feel that you belong.
Yeah. I think the feeling that you belong and that you are wanted is huge.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot of things that are discussed. You know, he didn't want me. She doesn't. I don't feel like he wants me, or they don't respect me. They don't love me. All of those kind of things. And it really boils down to what it means to be loved and how do I feel loved.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about. So number one, what is love? I think you can define that, and we all have our own definitions of love. And number two, discovering and rediscovering each other are secrets to lasting love. And what do I mean by discovering and rediscovering? We go through the initial phase. You see that boy or you see that girl, and you know you're attracted. And then you go through this discovery phase, and then you know the honeymoon phase after you get married, and you know, and everything is all euphoric and amazing, and you know you're excited. But then a lot of times we get to a lull. Once that discovery is, well, I already know them. I already know her. You know their ups, their downs, their ins, their outs,
Right.
their goods, their bads. And we stop discovering and rediscovering. I love the line in the song Faithfully by Journey. When it gets to this point, I get the joy of rediscovering you. And I think that that's something that couples lose. They lose the joy of rediscovering each other. Our relationship with our spouse is better approached as a lifelong process of discovery and rediscovering of each other, learning and growing as we connect physically, emotionally, intellectually, and other ways to connect, and learning how to love each other effectively is key. What I need, and why am I saying effectively? Because what I need isn't necessarily what Jared needs.
Right.
You know, and what he needs isn't necessarily what I need. And so we need to learn how to love each other effectively. And that's part of the discovery phase.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's so important. Couples who understand each other's love languages, and we're going to talk about what is a love language, holds a priceless advantage in the quest for love that lasts a lifetime. They know how to effectively and consistently make each other feel truly and deeply loved. That gift is a gift that never fades and a gift that continues to give.
So we're talking about here in week one, out of the five love languages books by Gary Chapman. what is love and
Yeah.
the secrets to lasting love. Number
Yeah.
one was discovering and rediscovering each other. I mean, we could probably make a whole week just on that.
Yeah.
I think also number two would be loving each other effectively.
Yeah.
Effectively. What is the love tank? And how do we keep it full? What is your love tank?
Yes.
Do you know what it is? Man, we discover what ours is. And man, it's not what sometimes what you think. What is the love tank and how do we keep it full? You know what? We all have a love tank.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. We all have a love tank, and we can liken it to the fuel tank in our vehicle.
Yeah.
And our fuel tank, as we know, full, half, quarter, and it depends where you're at as a type of person. When you decide to put the fuel in the tank, and it runs efficiently or effectively to a certain point, right? Yeah, that your car runs as effective at full as it does at 3/4, effective at 3/4 as it does at half, but it's beginning to lose the fuel or the power or the spice, the thing that keeps it going, right? In order for vehicles to run, it needs fuel or gasoline. We know this. Our love tank needs fuel.
Yeah.
And the fuel comes from our needs being met. Yeah. You have needs that need to be met as a man and a woman. And it's not all sex, men. I know that's what we think it is, but it's not. It's not all sex, women.
Yeah.
There's some horny women out there, but it's not all sex, right? And so how do we meet those needs, and how do we even know what they are? How much time have we spent discovering what that fuel is that keeps us going? It's a key to lasting love.
Yeah.
Right. Let's start with a few questions to think on as we begin this series. How would you define love?
Yeah.
And you can think about this on your own. You can maybe write in the comment section if you want to be that engaging. Maybe you can take a time to write down what your definition of love is. What makes you feel loved? Right. And that's going to be hard because it'll make you feel very what's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerable. But it's also going to make you feel very selfish. Sometimes we don't want to talk about what makes me feel loved because it's about me.
Yeah.
But you feel love a certain way, and you have to know what that is. You'll never be able to communicate what your love language is. What's that fuel for your fire, or that fuel for your gas tank, or that fuel for your vehicle? You'll never be able to communicate that if you don't know what it is. And we're going to help you discover what that is. Are you alert to signs that your spouse might be crying out for love? Right? Are you alert for that? We went through this process.
Yeah.
We're still going through this process, but I think we're way ahead now, more than we ever have been before. But it was a life change.
Yeah.
That helped us discover, whoa, you're not feeling love in a certain way. Okay. Or are you alert to the signs you are crying out for love? Are you personally, again, it's going to make you feel vulnerable. It's also going to make you feel a little selfish.
Yeah.
But not selfish. That's how you're going to feel. Oh man, this is what I need. And that's kind of, rude, but it's the fuel for your vehicle.
But I think it's so good. You're talking about the fuel for our vehicle. You're not going to put diesel in a non-diesel vehicle.
You should not do that.
And you're not going to put regular in a diesel vehicle. And so it's understanding what fuel it is that we need to continue to move on. And are we alert to signs that are going on? That we get red flags and, lights and sirens going off all the time when we're sick, when we're all of those things. We also get it in our relationships. So what then are we alert to them? And do we know what to do when those sirens are going off or those flags are being thrown? Over the next few weeks, we're going to go in depth into each of the 5 love languages, and it's your fuel to keep you going and to help you make you feel loved, desired, and wanted. And we're going to give you practical application on how you can apply this to your everyday life. It's something that we need to have in our daily lives. Love needs to be discovered, rediscovered, fueled on a daily basis. We don't want to let our car go empty because we're not going to be able to get to where we need to go. Mm-hmm. We need to continue to keep our love tank full so we can continue to go and to grow where it is that we need to in our relationships, in our own self and in our spouses. Don't forget to follow us here on social media, because you're going to want to be what is alerted when we go live, when
Hit
we
that notification
post.
bell. Yep.
And because you're going to want to engage in this conversation, because I think it's super important. And if you have questions, you have things that you want to talk about, topics, you can put that in the chat box. We are going to be interacting with you. You can also DM us if it's private, because we want this to be a continual conversation where we can grow together. Also, you can take the 5 love languages quiz. The link is in the chat box for you to do that, so you can figure out what your love language is as we go on to talk about these, to dissect them and to practically get into how we can apply them to our everyday life. You can know what your love language is and your spouse's as we dive into this together.
Just one last thought before we close. How can I say this? Let us help you not to let your fuel run out.
Yeah.
See, like we said before, you can have full, 3/4, half, a quarter. Man, your vehicle runs just as effective and efficiently, but it's running out of fuel.
Yeah.
Your marriage, your relationship could be running effectively and efficiently, but you know what? That fuel gauge is going down. Let us help you keep that fuel level up.
Yeah.
See you next week.